I haven't been able to do a review on the whole album, but I just got my Weavers package for the albums that I did bought. I wanted to make a quick unboxing. Oh, I wanted to make a quick unboxing. I think we just wrote. Yeah, V just left a message on Weavers. I have been liking the album. I have a few notes, but I don't know how pertinent they are. My review, this is a very quick one because I'm gonna do a really in-depth one in a few. Let's see when. Is that I like the songs individually. I really love Body to Body. I love Hooligans. All of them, I love them individually. I feel there is a little bit of a, I don't know how to say this. I was watching the Netflix documentary, though I haven't finished it because I have to be at my parents' house since I don't have Netflix. Oh, wow, this is beautiful. I feel that you are able to see that they were unsure what they wanted to do with the album. And I don't think I see a cohesion. So I like the songs individually, but I don't really love the album as a whole. And I think they were just unsure of themselves. Again, I was seeing the documentary and I was seeing them like practice with the lyricist and the other producers, even a little bit of what Bang Shi-hyuk said. I don't like Bang Shi-hyuk, even though I think he gets a lot of flack. And so I don't like him for other reasons, not because of the Min Hye-jin issue. Oh my gosh, look at my husbands. Beautiful. People get so confused that I call them my husbands, even though I'm gay. And I have to constantly explain, no, they're just my platonic husbands. I don't want to marry a man. But, oh, Taehyun left another message. What was I saying? I feel like they're confused. And I think they had a really difficult task. Not only were they coming back, but they were coming back after exploring like very deep emotions and artistic visions and different vision. But they also had already a tour planned. I think they had gone with the idea that they were gonna come back with a full tour. So they needed an album full of songs that were good for touring. This is what happened with Benito. Bad Bunny on Un Verano Sin Ti. People thought that he had a lot of songs in Un Verano Sin Ti, but part of it was that he wanted a touring album. So he had to put in a lot of songs. I also feel that they were not able to find their voice. Why do I say this? They were presented the idea of Arirang by their team as a way of cementing their legacy and presenting themselves again to the world as Korean people. And I think this is very clearly following the footsteps of Bad Bunny's last albums. There's a huge misunderstanding on how those albums worked. For Bad Bunny, he is coming off of what I see is a trilogy of 3 albums that fully explores Latin music. All of the songs that are on those 3 albums are genres of Latin music. And Latin music is very different to Korean music because there's simply a lot of countries. There are millions and millions of people everywhere. And you could include, for example, bossa nova, which is not actually Spanish speaking, but it's Portuguese. But since it's Latin America, you can include it. And you can also include within Latin music songs from Spain that they're not technically Latin American, but because they're Spanish speaking, their market is it's Latin America. And there are also people from Italy, which they don't speak Spanish, but again, because the market is so big, so there's just a vast culture of music. So, which I don't think you can have as much in Korean music, simply not because Korean music isn't good. I think it's great, ballads and all of that, but simply because there's not that many people. And because the Korean market is so small and so new. For Latin music, this is like the third renaissance of Latin music. Really, one of the first ones was with the golden age of cinema in Mexico, where they did a lot of music singing and we exported a lot of music. So really, there's a lot of history of music that Bad Bunny explored specifically on his album. So each one of the songs you can connect it to another genre of Latin music that is there. Plus, he is also using he's very open in his political views. And I think that the band members did pull back. I think because this is an album that had a lot of constraints in them, meaning that they had to please their agency. Their agency were like sort of, oh my god, look at him. He's my ultimate husband. BTS is the moneymaker in Big Hit and in Hype. So they had to please certain metrics, but they had to also construct an album that is tourable. This is massive. And I think they just had too much going on. In order to have this done in a better way, I think they needed to take more time to really talk amongst themselves what do they want to bring forth. Because just simply adding the Arirang in the beginning of one of the first songs, I don't think is enough to explore their Korean identity. I love the songs individually. I really like the album. I just don't love it. And I see that I think they just had too many voices in their head. I think they needed to be more hermetic. I think they needed to have less people in the album. Another issue that I have, and this is transparent, I really dislike Diplo. I don't believe in working with potential aggressors, and Diplo has been accused 2 times of R-wording people. And the only reason that he is not charged with anything is because he settled with victims, meaning that he's not proven to not be. But also, not only the ethical parts of Diplo, he's also an artist. He's a producer that produces hits. But I think that BTS didn't need to create a hit. If I were someone that were advising them, which I don't see why they would listen to me because I'm not one in the industry, I was listening to REM album, the one that has Losing My Religion, and I thought that is the direction that BTS needed. Out of Time. The album is Out of Time. I think that is the direction that BTS needed to take. If you know the history of REM, people say they inaugurated the music of the 90s, but this is like the 5th album, and they were already a massive band. They had already hits. They had been coming off of a cycle of touring and touring and touring, and they were tired of their instruments. And they had the band, the disquera, I don't know how to say it, like the label, on their ears. They wanted them to produce a second Green album, which was one of their most, like a really high of their album. It sold a lot. This is the other one. But they didn't feel connected to their art anymore. And so what they did is they created this mashup. The guitarist did not play the guitar. He played he's also a singer. He played the mandolin, and the drummer was not going to play the drums. They were going to play like the guitar or something else. So they were just simply trying to explore their creativity, and they wanted to create an album about heartbreak, which they haven't done before. This is beautiful. I love this. I'm gonna rip this and add it to my music player today, because I've been streaming on YouTube, but one of my goals is to not stream this year. And so they did that, and they produced their best album yet. Losing My Religion is incredible. It broke so many records, and it's because they felt particularly alien before to their music. They felt like they were just tired of touring, and they had lost themselves. They had too many people, their label in their ears, wanting them to produce the same thing, wanting them to solidify their legacy. But instead, what they did is broke with that and said, I'm not going to solidify a legacy that I don't feel entitled to, and I don't feel like it is. Because when you solidify a legacy, you're basically saying, that's it. You don't need to produce, you don't need to create, you don't need to innovate. And they refused to do that. And so they worked on the inception of Out of Time, which included Losing My Religion. I think they needed to do that. I think we don't see elements that are so particular to BTS. I think we miss a lot of Yoongi's producing. I know that he produced, I know that they wrote, all of the rappers wrote, and V also wrote a song. Everyone participated. I still feel that they had too many things going on. They don't feel sure on the album. And I want them to not solidify their legacy, because I know that they have a lot to say and give. So as a comeback album, I think they needed to do a more stripped back version of themselves and like trying to explore what does it mean to have been this huge band, having gone solo, having successful solos with so many different genres, and then coming back together after the military, after so many tragedies. Because part of BTS's lore is that they had so many tragedies happen to their success. They had the pandemic. They had the racism of the Grammys, etc., etc. So I think they needed to explore that a little bit more. Again, I like the songs individually. I like the lyrics. I've been reading the translations about those set, and I do like the lyrics. Even in the lyrics, they do say things like referring to like the racism of the industry, like calling the big-eyed people and things like that. I think they had too many thoughts in their heads. And one of the things that RM said in the interview with Sakseng, I think, no, with Saint Lo, the Apple Music guy, is that they wanted to go to LA to get immersed in the culture of LA and borrow from the creativity of younger artists. I think that is the issue. LA has a rich history, but it's not the end all be all. In fact, LA is a very like plastic place. It is very surface level. And if you get in touch with producers that are also very surface level, I know that Diplo is a huge producer that has produced many hits, but he's not someone who is known to explore culture in itself. I mean, BTS is young. They don't need to borrow from other people. I love them. I like the album. I don't think it's the best they can give. I want to preface this. They had a very difficult task. They had to balance the expectations of their label, which I don't think it's unreasonable. They needed to make money for them because they are their cash cows. And they also had to create an album that is tourable. That is something that Bad Bunny had to do with Un Verano Sin Ti. But Un Verano Sin Ti, even though it was such a big album, it was rooted in a commitment, in an artistic commitment. And I don't think they have one here. I think they were lost. And it's okay to feel lost. But I think they need to trust in themselves. I think RM needs to find his voice again. I don't think he has it. I don't think he has found his voice again. I think they need to lean more on Yoongi. One of the things that I found amazing is that you can see the growth that J-Hope did. I talked about it, how much I think he's a leader. He is a staple in this album. Every song that he's at, which is every song, his voice is very prominent. And I think it's because J-Hope truly has found confidence in himself. I kind of feel that RM sort of lost his confidence. I don't know. And I may be talking out of my ass. Please don't hate me. I really love them and I really like the album. It's just that I don't think this is their best. I think it's noticeable that they felt a little lost in the task. And I think they were maybe a little bit too eager to come back to us. That they just needed more time. I think they needed more time. And I think they listened to their worst instincts. I don't think you need to listen to Diplo because he's an artist that will create a top charting song, but he's not an artist that will create something for the culture, something for your legacy, something that speaks about your Korean nature. So you have these competing forces of having an album that is tourable and having an album that is good with singles that is probably gonna get good radio play. But in fact, because of these competing things, I don't think this album is great. I also think that they need to decouple from the US. The US is a lost endeavor, in my opinion. It's a country in the decline. I think they need to explore places outside. Oh, look at this. This is beautiful. Outside of the US. Again, I've been reading a lot of Nietzsche. I've settled on my thesis that it's going to be about artificial intelligence, but I'm going to go back to like the beginning on why we make a mistake on conflating what intelligence is. And I think that the point is Kant. And my favorite philosopher is Schopenhauer, and I think Schopenhauer did a great response to Kant. But one of the people that is also a response to Schopenhauer, loves him, but also breaks with him, is Nietzsche. And part of Nietzsche's philosophy is a philosophy of destruction, meaning that it's okay to create and then destroy what you create, to not commit to your past self. To say, I explored this, I didn't like this, I'm gonna destroy it and create something new and better. I kind of think that they need to do that. It's a philosophy of rehearsing. It's a rehearsing philosophy. So I think this is a good album for them to rehearse, for them to have come back to ARMY. But I think they have to like get it in their heads that they are the people. Like they don't have to borrow from others. They have something to say, and just say it. Just be bold enough to say it, because otherwise, I think it does kind of end up being a little bit of a vapid album. Not because they don't want to have an emotional album, but because it just ended up being, it just had too many thoughts in them. I think they need to go back to the drawing board. I think they need to trust in themselves. I don't think they were trusting in themselves enough. The one that I thought that did trust in them in himself was J-Hope, and it shows in his performance. He is very. It's a very good performance. I also like some songs, to be honest, I do feel like they were made thinking of K-pop demon hunters, and I don't think it's good for them to sound like K-pop demon hunters. Again, I please don't cancel me, Army, and if just by chance the members listen to this, I like the songs. I think they were amazing. I really love Swim. Swim made me cry. This is the song that I needed to hear. I like Body to Body, I like Hooligans. All of them individually, I like them. I just don't see the cohesion. And I think there were too many competing forces. Either you committed to the Arirang project or you didn't. And I think you only committed to the Body to Body one. Because the Hooligan one, even though I do like it and I don't think it's gimmicky, it ended up sounding more like another culture. So again, please don't cancel me. I love it. I'm gonna enjoy it. I enjoy it. I have enjoyed it. I just know that they can do better, and I feel like they were very hesitant in their. This is a hesitant release, and I still love it, but I know that they can do better, and I think they just had too many things that they needed. They had like, oh, we need to do it for the it needs to have good singles for charting. Oh, it needs to be good for touring. Oh, it needs to be good for the fans and emotional for the fans. Oh, it needs to come back because Bad Bunny is the artist that has been dominating. We need to go back to our roots and present that. And we need to do something different and better, but also represent our past and our future and our present. There's just too many things. I think they need to listen to REM Out of Time, look at their albums before Out of Time, look at Out of Time, and look at interviews about how much they had felt disenchanted with their art because they had too many things on their plate. They had been touring a lot, they hadn't rested, they were coming from an album that I think is Green that had done so good, and the label was in their head saying you need to produce Green too. And instead of following what others said, they said no, I'm gonna do something different, and they created Out of Time, which from there came out Losing My Religion, which is an iconic song. So I know that they have it in them. They just had too many voices in their head, and I don't think they trusted themselves enough. And I know that they can do better. I really know that they can do better. I feel like they were lost. And I know them. I believe in them. I just need them to believe in themselves. But again, as Nietzsche says, this is art and philosophy is about creating and destroying and essaying, like making essays. Essaying is actually, an essay is a rehearsal of your thoughts. This is just a rehearsal. Of course, it's going to be a hit for ARMY, and of course, we're going to sell them out. I've already bought 3 albums because this year I'm not streaming. I am going to try to buy the singles that they have been releasing. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy on iTunes. I think I'm going to buy on iTunes because I paid a lot of fees because apparently we have taxed imports from South Korea and Mexico, so it was really expensive. It was like paying the same amount that I pay for this. I'm gonna buy the singles. Not sure if I'm gonna buy them physical, but for sure I'm gonna buy them on iTunes. I've already have 2 tickets for the shows in Mexico, and I'm excited for them. I know that they're performers at their heart, and they're gonna be amazing. And I want to stress this. I like the songs individually. I like them all. I love Swim. I love Body to Body. I love Into the Sun. I really love Into the Sun. I just don't think it's cohesive. And I think it shows that they were listening to too many people in their heads. So, and I think it's time for Bang Shi-hyuk to just goodbye. I don't think he's a good influence. I think he represents the worst of BTS. And again, I don't care about Mi Hye-jin. I think she is an actual... So I don't dislike Bang Shi-hyuk because of that. I don't trust him. I don't trust his artistic vision. From everything that I love about BTS has always been an inception from RM or a collaboration from the guys. And the things that I have particularly disliked, like American Hustle Life or the prank about asking RM if he's gonna go solo, has always come from Bang Shi-hyuk. I don't trust him. I don't trust his artistic vision. I don't think he should be working with BTS anymore. And frankly, also P-Dog, I think a lot of the producers that work with them is because P-Dog make a lot of friends in them. P-Dog needs to like get better producing friends. I don't think they should be working with Diplo. Not only because he is an aggressor and a piece of is and a Zionist, but also because he is there to produce mass production. And that's okay, but he's like a singles guy. He works in your one single, not on 5 songs. So yeah, again, I love it. I love them. I'm gonna be consuming their interviews little by little because I have too many things to do. I'm gonna do a full in-depth review. Hopefully I can convey a little bit more of what I wanted to say when I quote their lyrics, but I think they need to believe in themselves. I also felt really bad for RM. I think this was very hard for him to get the injury that he got. I think you could see it in him that he was sad and disappointed. That's just life. But also in theater, you always say break a leg so that you have an amazing performance. And I think he literally broke a leg. So they're gonna have an amazing tour. They just, in terms of their songs, I think they need to take more time for themselves. I think they only worked on the songs really for like about 2-3 months. I think they needed to take more time. I think they need to like sort of like chide away their expectations of the label, because the label has expectations that are different from the bands. And I think they need to go back to listen to interviews of REM about how they specifically did not follow their label's advice in order to create one of the greatest albums in the 90s, which was Out of Time, including the song Losing My Religion. So anyways, thank you for watching. Again, I love it. Please don't hate me. I like it. I think they can do better, okay? So anyways, thank you for watching. I hope the members are safe. I hope RM is resting and getting better. And I wish that they have an amazing tour. And I pray for the girls in the Middle East that are currently under attack, and the men and the women and children. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about it because my videos keep getting censored. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you until next time. Bye.